Mm.
All right, Jay Baba. We are now
Jai Baba.
recording. This is
So
a
this is all about Dr. Williams' life with Baba, and specifically this chapter is dedicated for the Wayfarers, how the Wayfarers book came up, and the supplementary in specific about the supplementary of Wayfarers, which is the most important part, and how the attitude of Dr. Donkin changed by the time he wrote the supplementary. All those wonderful things we'll see in this session today. Another account describes a homey scene at Meherkrupa. We began reading aloud. We sat together in the evenings and had jokes. Mehra began to be a little bit free. This is important. Margaret Cross says Baba had taken them, Easterners, to the spiritual heights, and now he had to bring them down again, slowly, slowly, into the material world. He had taken them out of the physical world. They couldn't have any contact whatsoever. Then, when we Westerners came on the scene, we felt that gradually, a teeny, teeny bit. Baba did it so slowly. He brought them a little bit back in touch with the physical material world. This is very astonishing, and I'm reading for the first time, something like that. Very important that she says that बाबा मार्गारेट क्रास कहती है कि बाबा ने सभी महिलाओं को उच्च आध्यात्मिक वंडरफुल फोटो ऑफ अलीशा. Yeah, Alisha was one of Baba's high favorite musts. Baba spent considerable time with the fifth plane must at Mehrabad and Mehrabad in the 1940s. Whenever Baba had important work, he used to invite Alisha, and he helped Baba a lot. And how they worked and how it was a two-way work that Dawkins had explained, and we'll read in this session. But what we were reading is very important. I'll just repeat that Margaret Cross says Baba had elevated or taken Eastern women in the high spiritual position, and he had to brought them down for his work, and he was doing it slowly. And when we read this, I remember the case with the boys book we read, The Boys, in which Abdullah Pakawan was brought down to the physical consciousness. So this is something like that. It's new and wonderful. Okay, let's move ahead. It is apparent, yeah, where it is, where it has gone. Okay, maybe not. It is apparent that as William wrote the two supplementary pamphlets that would be published in a subsequent printing of the Wayfarers, he was studying the must spiritual master connection more closely. Ali Shah, one of Meher Baba's favorite musts, spent considerable time at Mehrabad and Meherazad. While in previous descriptions of Baba's contact with the mosque, Baba appeared to be doing all the work. William noticed that a two-way street existed with Ali Shah when he was taken from Mehrabad to Meherazad to spend a month with Baba in January 1949. What is this two-way street? That means Baba was helping Alisha for his spiritual progress, and Alisha in turn was helping Baba in his work. And he has explained how it was going on. Further, he has explained Baba fed him and sat with him every day. I have brought this possibly unexciting detail into the main text in order to fill in an omission in the Wayfarers and also to record a small personal observation. This is important. William said the omission was that Ali Shah is generally known in Mehrabad and elsewhere as Babji, BAP, Babji. And this name has now almost eclipsed his earlier name of Ali Shah. The personal observation may be thought unimportant, but and in Ahmednagar there is a place with this name Babji in Ahmednagar city. The personal observation may be thought unimportant, but it adds weight to the surmise that one of the reasons, if not the chief reason, for Baba's contact with the god intoxicated is to give them work. The observation in question is simply whenever Babji returns to Mehrabad after a period of contact with Baba, he spends almost the entire day in the privacy of his little room for a week or 10 days and seems to resent any intrusion. If you keep in at him, he appears to be making more gestures than usual with his hands. And the impression is that he is concentrating on some kind of special work. This is very important. Okay. After a week or 10 days, however, he comes out again from his room and mixes freely with the mandali as if he now had leisure to do as he pleased. Just what work Bapji Alisha was engaged in is a mystery, but his popularity with Baba is beyond question. Earlier in the Wayfarers, William pointed out that Baba contacted Babji on 20 different occasions between 1943 and 1947. William's flowery description of Mount Abu, Baba's next stopping off point, reflects his ongoing efforts at spicing up the prose in his book on the Mass. Mount Abu has an important place in the histories of both Jains and Hindus, and William points out it is said of Abu that if you fast there but one day, all your sins are forgiven you, and that if you live there but 1 year, you will become the precipitator of all mankind. It's a nice place. There is a footnote about Mount Abu. We'll read that. There is um, a famous Jain temple is also there, Dilwara. And there is also a very high on the mountain. There is also a temple which is very famous. And Baba and women had gone there. That is called Guru Shikhar. So Mount Abu is the highest peak in the Aravalli mountain range in Rajasthan. The town is popular hill station with carved number of Jain temples, Hindu temples carved out of rock, the beautiful Nakki Lake, and a fort. Baba and Mandali had been to Nakki Lake also, that, and they did boating there, and they had been to fort as well. But this is not given here, some other book. Baba decided to use this northwestern India site as his headquarters for 3 months. Meheru, Meher Baba's only surviving woman disciple in 2012, remembers the stay in the area. She says, Meheru says, the house we stayed in was very comfortable, right near the bazaar, Meheru recalls. The men in the town would be drunk and noisy, however, and Don was permitted to sleep at our place on the front veranda. We tried to locate this house, but we couldn't locate that time. And there is a footnote about Mehru and Jainism. Jainism is an Indian religion that prescribes a path of nonviolence toward all living beings. Its philosophy and practice emphasize the necessity of self effort to move the soul toward divine consciousness and liberation. There are more in Gujarat and Rajasthan, James. Then about Meheru. Meheru was Mehra's niece. मतलब भांजी थी मेहरा की बहन की बेटी. Daughter of Mehra's sister Frenny and Adike Irani's brother Rustum. She joined Baba's Mandli as a young woman and was one of only 4 women Mandli accompanying Baba on the new life. She was sister of Jangu. Jangu का उल्लेख अभी आप हम लोग ब्लू बस टूर में पढ़ रहे हैं, तो जंगू की बहन थी मेहरू. Okay, coming back to the. While little happened at Abu to record, William described some side trips. On one occasion, Baba traveled to Ajmer, where he contacted Chacha, one of his 5 favorite musts. On this occasion, Baba also gave 5 rupees each to 44 widows in the area. While Baba occasionally contacted groups of the poor, it was unusual for him to actually give alms to widows. These meetings were usually behind closed doors, and William offers his own interpretation of the event. This is important. William Donkin says about Baba's meeting with the widows and giving them money. Donkin says, I think that we are justified in the assumption that the gift itself, whether it be money or cloth or grain or anything else, is a kind of catalyst by which Baba is able to bring about a certain spiritual reaction. Baba, we know, often gives charity to individual people with apparently no other aim than to lessen the burden of their material cares, but these gifts are of quite another kind and involve no contact. This is very important observation. I must tell here few facts to you of that period about the widows. That was a horrible period for the widows in India. They were compelled to get burnt with the same where the if the husband dies, they also have to die, and they were burnt alive. If they survived and the widows is behind, then the whole hair will be removed. She will be compelled to wear a simple one color sari, no ornaments, no good food, and life for widows was just more than a hell at that time in India. Beyond words. So much so, they suffered so many generations. And I think that's why the work Baba did for the widows and gave their money, because they were totally dependent on someone in the family. And there was all sort of what we call now exploitation from them behind the doors, all sort of, and all the labor they have to do apart from that, and hunger and all those things. Horrible condition it was for them. So this was very important, and it is nowhere not much discussed topic actually. Baba's work for the widows. Okay. William went on to describe an arduous and comical journey by bullock cart to track down a must, during which Erich lost 700 rupees from his shirt pocket. When Baba was informed of the loss, he told the Mandali that it was more important to concentrate on finding the must than worrying about lost money. Oh. Ironically enough, after a successful meeting with the must, the money was found and recovered on the trip back, along with a single shoe of Erich that had been lost on the same adventure. So there is a footnote. Erich Jesawala, born in 1916 and died in 2001, joined Meher Baba. He served as Baba's attendant and main interpreter in both the English language alphabet board and later Baba's sign language. Erich took dictation from alphabet board for Meher Baba's book God Speaks, wrote the ninth chapter of that book under Baba's direct supervision, and wrote the book's conclusion. Erich's stories of his life with Meher Baba were also published in a few books. And in spite of this, he was so, oh, what is this? He was uh, so simple and so humble. And new book has come, no? That Befitting His Slave, written by Davana. Okay. William continues his descriptive narrative, covering a number of must expeditions from the Mount Abu headquarters. He indicates that difficulties are a natural part of life with a spiritual master and occur for specific reasons. Baba has explained many times that resistance of one kind or another is necessary for his work. If we take this as our starting point, it is surely justifiable to surmise that when resistance is not following of its own accord, a perfect master may deliberately invite it by walking with open eyes into a situation that he knows will bring difficulties and perhaps even disasters upon him. As we are reading now in Blue Bus Tour, once there was no opposition. So Baba said, I think it was Bairamangla. So Baba said, I will create some opposition. William's explanations as the final supplement to the book Wayfarers took shape indicate that he reached new conclusions that were not to be found in original manuscript. He said it was natural for the reader to question the perfection of a perfect master who often allows himself to be humiliated or obstructed to the point of absurdity. Mm. It would be impossible for me. This is very important and very good. I liked it. What he says is, it would be impossible for me at least to define what I really know nothing about, says William. But in this context, we can certainly ask ourselves whether, if we accept that Christ was spiritually perfect, he was only the less perfect because he deliberately allowed himself to be nailed to a cross like a common criminal. They allow themselves to suffer. So that's the point. While Williams admits it may seem unfair to compare the agony of crucifixion with a night of petty annoyances on the road with Meher Baba, it seems to me that the principle common to both is that a perfect master deliberately allows himself to suffer in a way and at a time that answers to the needs of his work. The particular reason for enduring a particular difficulty or disaster may be beyond our understanding, but I am certain of one thing at least, that all such voluntary sufferings, whether great or small, are borne by those realized beings for salvation of mankind. Latter. ओके तो यहाँ बाबा ये कह रहे विलियम डॉकिन ये कह रहे हैं कि क्या अवतार है, ऑल नोइंग ऑल पावरफुल है, तो स्वयं का तकलीफ वो कम नहीं कर सकता है? कर सकता है, पर वो जानबूझ के ऐसा तकलीफ अपने ऊपर ओढ़ लेता है पूरी मानवता के सल्वेशन के लिए, मुक्ति के लिए। जैसे कि वहां पर हमने अभी देखा ब्लू बस टूर में कि कैसे वो मुल्तान से वो लोग इंदुस रिवर क्रॉस करके गए, एंड दे सफर्ड सो मच इन द रेन, हेवी रेन्स एंड डार्कनेस, एंड Mexo temporary pontoon bridge was just swaying up and down and side by side, and how much they suffered. तो डॉकिन कहते कि क्या ये सब वो अवॉइड नहीं कर सकते थे? बिल्कुल कर सकते थे, लेकिन मानवता के लिए ये जानबूझ के सफर करते हैं। दिस इज द इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट। Voluntary sufferings, whether great or small, are borne by those realized beings for salvation of mankind. Later in this section, Baba elaborates further on why most often we found in filthy surroundings. This is very important point. Why musts are found in filthy surroundings? A nice explanation is given. Some even choose to live surrounded by their own bodily wastes. As a lead up to his explanation about musts and their often filthy hovels, Baba, through notes that William borrowed from Dr. Gurney, says, I like two things, must and children. Baba says, I like musts for their strength and children for their helplessness. The fire of love is terrible indeed, and must present a challenge of this terrible fire of love to God the Beloved. Baba goes on to say, dictating on his alphabet board, because of the terrible fire of their love, they present a challenge to the Beloved, and this challenge that the Beloved should manifest himself is always accompanied by heroic efforts to achieve total self elimination or egolessness, efforts that may take many forms. To live in dirty surroundings, such as in or near a latrine or a urinal, is one way of utterly forgetting one's bodily existence. And the beauty of it is that when the body is utterly neglected or forgotten, because the consciousness is a fire only of love for the divine beloved, it does not deteriorate but takes care of itself automatically. The minds of ordinary people are constantly looking after their bodies, but they find that in spite of taking every kind of precaution and care, deterioration can never be avoided altogether. Baba went on to point out how difficult becoming a lover of God could be. सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट। यहाँ बाबा कहते हैं कि बाबा को दो चीजें पसंद है, एक तो बच्चे उनके हेल्पलेसनेस के लिए, दूसरे मस्त क्योंकि वो बहुत स्ट्रांग है, उनका ईश्वर के प्रति जबरदस्त प्रेम के लिए उनको मस्त पसंद है। अब मस्त गंदगी में क्यों रहते हैं? क्योंकि वो अपना स्वयं का अस्तित्व तक भूल जाना चाहते हैं अपने प्रियतम के प्रेम में। यहाँ जब वो अपने प्रियतम के प्रेम में इतने डूबते हैं तो अपने आप उनके शरीर की हिफाजत होती है, लेकिन कॉमन मैन इतना केयर लेके भी उसका बॉडीली सब एलिमेंट्स चलता ही रहता है। आगे बाबा कहते हैं कि इतना स्ट्रांग लवर, ईश्वर का प्रेमी बनना कितना मुश्किल है। बाबा कहते हैं, इट इज नॉट गिवन टू एवरीबडी टू बी अ लवर ऑफ गॉड. Such lovers are so consumed in the fire of love that they are not conscious of their stage of spiritual progress, and they do not have any thought of union with God. They simply enjoy the torture of love and long for more and more of it. These lovers do not have any thought about their separation from the beloved, or, as I have already told you, any thoughts of of union with him. They are resigned to the state in which they find themselves, and when their resignation reaches its climax, it is beloved who seeks union with them. In the early months of 1949, Baba made another trip with the women Mandali and Erach Adi Senior and William to the seaside village of Vengula. हम लोगों ने कल लिया वेंगोला ब्लू बस टू ब्यूटीफुल spot. William traveled ahead to make reservations at the same cliffside government rest house where they had stayed previously. Female Mandali member Dr. Gohar recalled the experience. Dr. Gohar says, "It was a beautiful trip, a complete holiday for Baba. We went on walks with him, waded in the water. Sometimes Baba went ahead with Yerich or Dawn while we swam. There was a nice cook who cooked well. The trip was not without the usual humorous mishaps and controversy. On one occasion, Dr. Gohar got stuck in a broken chair that she had warned others not to sit on. Baba, Mehra, Mani, and Meheru, who witnessed the incident, laughed heartily. वो खुद ही टूटी हुई चेयर में फंस गए. On another occasion, William's meticulous nature got under Gohar's skin. He had been too thorough in tying up the bedrolls. The Gohar scolded him when she had trouble untying hers at bedtime. Bedbugs were also a problem at one stopover on the trip, to the point that William asked everyone to turn in their mattresses, which he promptly set afire to get rid of the problem. Other than this brief holiday, working side trips from Baba's new home base at Mirazan were the norm. A surprising gift was delivered to the new residential compound that year. William's father, Sidney Brand, paid for a gas generator which was to be installed there to provide electric lights. Merwan, Erichizisawala's younger brother, recalls the generator's short life at Merazar. It was installed and lit up the colony only once. At 10 o'clock that night, Baba said, "Shut it off." He referred to it as a petrol driven monster. Merwan says the generator, which only ran for 3 hours, was a big piece of machinery that took up an entire room at Meherkrupa. It was soon moved to the larger Mehrabad colony and used there. There is a beautiful picture of Vengurla government guest house. Can you please show, dear Betty? And I'll tell you more about this Vengurla guest house. I will read about it first. Yeah, this is a Vengurla guest house. Yeah, it is still there. Huh? It is a very tourist attraction. All the three side seashore is there. It's all with the greenery. It is so beautiful and very peaceful, and it was so secluded at that time that one ends goes straight into the sea, and Baba and all of them enjoyed there. Baba, several of the women, Manli and William, first stayed in this seaside government rest house in Vengulla on India's west coast in 1947. Male Mandali member Serachana Adi Senior accompanied Baba and the same group on a follow-up visit in 1949. The two visits were mainly holidays. It is all greenery and all the fruits, orchards and mango trees and so many fruits, and it was all around jungle. Even wild animals used to visit there. They enjoyed there, except that bed bugs. It was a horrible thing because of which they couldn't sleep. Yeah. In April 1949, Baba and his followers traveled from Abu to Banaras, the city that overlooks the wide waters of the Ganges. A memorable must contact was made in Banaras of Batwa Shah. Baba says, when I sat near Batwa Shah, I felt as if I was sitting near Chacha. Chacha had been described earlier in the Wayfarers as a God realized being or Masuf of the seventh plane. There are 2, 3 footnotes. I'll read them first. The first is about Banaras. Banaras, now Varanasi, is in the state of Uttar Pradesh. It is regarded as a holy city of Hindus, Buddhists, and Jains. Now it is too much developed. All the commercialization has done there. Another is about the Ganges or Ganga is one of the major rivers in India starting in the western Himalayas and flowing through Bangladesh into the Bay of Bengal. It's holy to the Hindus and has been declared India's national river. Where it starts was a point Gangotri. Now so much has developed, it has gone further and further. It's going with the glaciers getting melted. Another footnote is about or Batwa. Batwa Shah was a well-known must in Banaras who had come from a wealthy family but who was found living in a filthy state. Okay. Batwa Shah was prone to phases of irritability, but also had a fondness for children. The mouse had a distinctive habit of carrying sheets of paper whenever he went and wherever he sat down. He took out a peculiar long pencil and covered sheets after sheet with writing. Although reluctant at first to meet with Baba, Batwa Shah shared his food with Baba, wow, and also asked Baba to scratch him, which Baba did for about an hour. Oh my God. For an hour, Baba was scratching his back, maybe. Oh, William admits, as this final section of the Wayfarer supplement comes to an end, that the Mandali could at times be frustrated with the must chasing exploits. This is very important point he has discussed here very frankly. यहाँ पर विलियम डॉकिन कहते हैं कि मस को ढूंढने में बाद में कई बार मंडली जन तंग आ जाते थे। यहाँ तक कि डॉकिन ने आगे बाबा का साथ मतलब मस्त टूर में नहीं दिया, लेकिन जो बाकी लोग बाबा के साथ जाते थे उनसे उन्होंने जानकारी हासिल करके फिर किताब में डाले हैं। तो दिस इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक इज डिस्कस हियर, विल रीड दैट. In striving to do justice to this work of Meher Baba with advanced souls and others, I find myself jostled by the horns of a dilemma. William says that in the beginning, the tours had a morning freshness about them, which stimulated the Mandali to vital enthusiasm for the work, but the years took their toll on the keenness. It was natural to have anxiety, to have anxiousness, how the must are to see them. So initially they were excited, but slowly it came down. These levels have now gone on for so many years that the men who go with Baba on these tours have begun to show symptoms of languor of the spirit or languor of the spirit. One of the results of this is that the descriptions of all except the most exceptional contacts are inclined to be perfunctory or worse still to consist of a mere inventory of physical peculiarities. Very important. Hi, Masha. Jai Baba. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yay, Baba. William, who admitted his own enthusiasm was low, voices his frustration at trying to extract second-hand information from those accompanying Baba on the tours. And then, of course, it is clear that no one except Baba himself knows the real meaning of these contacts. This is only half the dilemma. And the other half is an almost neurotic obsession in my own mind that all this work of Meher Baba with advanced souls, sadhus, and the mad and poor must be put on record with a faithful attention to detail. In the last section of William's second pamphlet, and thus the final pages of The Wayfarers, he deals with Meher Baba's 40-day seclusion from June 22 to July 31st, 1949. Oddly enough, Baba chose the body of the old blue bus as his seclusion sanctuary. The bus, which William often drove and Baba had used in his travels in the pre-war days, had been disassembled. The body had to be retrieved from a garage yard and resurrected at Mirazat. During Baba's seclusion in the refurbished bus, which William described as the sweetest and gayest little cabin, Baba would contact 21 poor people, the fifth plain Mast Ali Shah, and 7 mad people. The 40-day seclusion was divided into 5 distinct phases. Baba Spain, the first and last phases of the seclusion were working almost entirely with the Mast Ali Shah in the confines of the bus cabin. Between these two periods, in a surprising turnabout, Baba left the bus and traveled to Pune for 9 days. The phase that was spent in Pune was, one is bound to admit, really no seclusion at all. In this context, one remembers a dig that Baba once made at himself. I am consistent, he said, in inconsistency. I am consistent in inconsistency, Baba says about himself. Most of the Pune days were spent contacting Mus. While the reader may interpret Baba's break from his seclusion as a sign of spinelessness or even willful dishonesty, William held firm on the point that because of Baba's elevated existence, he did not have to justify his actions to anyone or continue his seclusion for spiritual profit. Well, perfectly said. We know that there never has been and never will be any question of the slightest spiritual profit for Baba himself because he is spiritually perfect. He has no personal axe to grind, and to carry through his thankless job, he has extended his consciousness from the shoreless ocean of infinite power, knowledge, and bliss to the choking smog of this wretched yet livable earth of ours. Wow. As William approaches the final 10 pages of his writing, he very openly praises Meher Baba, but admits he is butting up against forces afoot within his own psyche. When it comes to a great being, who knows, and is one with the uttermost secrets of the universe, who is the master of masters and the genius of geniuses, who is, as the old prayer goes, King of kings, Lord of lords, and the only rule of the princes, we hide our ears and tell under the cap and groan and gown off an egregious self-complacency and bray at him how he should or should not do his job. Now, William goes on to describe his own mental gymnastics in dealing with Baba's trip to Pune in the midst of his 40-day seclusion. You may suspect all this to be an acute attack of grandiloquence, and it should therefore be made clear that the antecedent paragraphs constitute a puja, emotional rather than logical, directed imprimis from one department of any own mind to another department of it. Baba chose a house on a hill, overlooking, but here, what I will like to add on. It's not so that what we see externally that it was a seclusion period and how come Baba went to Pune. No, though he has left the place and he goes to Pune or somewhere, in his own way, he keeps himself secluded. He will not meet with others. He will not give darshans and all those kinds of things. And the work he was doing, almost work, whatever internal work, he continues doing that. His seclusion is for his work. It's not for the external show. So we can't say that he, in spite of in seclusion, he went to Pune and all that. There are so many instances like this that Baba was in seclusion and he changed the place, but he continues his seclusion. Like we see the film Beyond Words. Everyone likes that film, last film of Baba, Beyond Words. That time also Baba's strict seclusion was going on. And still that person, I forgot his name. You might be remembering the one who pictured the film Beyond the Words. He had come to see Baba for the first time. And still Baba allowed him to film.
It was Van Gasteren, Louis Van Gasteren.
Yeah. And he turned up after many years. That film was with him. He had forgotten. And after that, I think maybe after 25 years, first time when he came to Meherkrupa, we were there.
Mm.
Luckily, my parents were also there. We were there, and he was asked, "Who are you?" And then in front of us, he told the whole thing, and he showed that turban, pink color turban also. So see, and even during seclusion, there were certain people whom Baba used to allow to come and stay with him, like C.D. Deshmukh and Billy Page. He was allowed to stay during seclusion with Baba. And during seclusion, he used to allow visit to my father also. That is again another thing. He was always ready to abide to Baba's rules, but he was permitted to see Baba even during seclusions. So these are his external things which are beyond our understanding. If we try to understand, it will be misunderstanding only. Funny. Baba chose a house on a hill overlooking his birthplace city of Pune for his 9-day stay. Yeah. Although he left Meherkrupa with the Mast Ali Shah and 2 other Mandali, he was soon joined at the house by 3 other Mandali. William gives a brief description of the 5 Mandali members and Ali Shah, weaving a humorous hodgepodge of the inhabitants. While Baba described the Pune adventure as a period of relaxation, his work with Ali Shah and the Mandali's efforts at contacting more must was relentless. William describes one must contacted as being very boisterous and great source of humor for Meher Baba and the party. Another must, who lived in a public urinal, was both a public and revered figure in Pune. While Baba has already given spiritual reasons why this got intoxicated, uh, uh,
Let's see.
here we are, Sushmaji. It is clear for me, it is clear. Here we are, see.
It's clear
While
for me
Baba
too.
has, huh? Yeah, in the first para and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seventh line. While Baba has already given spiritual reasons why this girl
अभी
in talk.
अभी ठीक हो गया, बीच बीच में खराब हो जा रहा है, बीच
ओके
बीच
ओके
में वो
ओके। नहीं जब वो
फ्लैश हो गया।
पलटते ना, पन्ना पलटते तब हो जाता है थोड़ा।
हाँ नहीं, वो फ्लैश हो जा रहा है एकदम ना, काट काट देता है ना वर्ड को, वैसा है।
नाउ ओके ना, नाउ ओके
ना ओके।
ओके। थैंक यू, जय बाबा। So, while Baba has already given spiritual reasons why these God intoxicated people choose to live in filthy surroundings, William, perhaps predicting his book would be read by people outside of India, again tried his best to explain Musk's habitat preferences. William says, spiritual explanations, however, are not quite the cup of tea of the average modern Westerner, although he is ready at any time to play fast and loose with specimens of jargon from normal and morbid psychology. William goes on to predict that most Westerners might think the so called Musks that live in latrines and urinals are nothing more than perverts. The Wayfarers author says the adult population of India is as discerning as any adult population in any part of the world, and their reverence for many of these beings proves their worth, even if the basis of this conviction remains a mystery. Since we can neither prove that Musts are spiritually advanced, nor disprove that they are psychotics or psychoneurotics, we may as well keep an open mind on the subject. For my own part, in any case, I accept that what Baba tells us about these great souls in the same way as I would accept, for example, what Niels Bohr might tell us about nuclear fission. So here is a footnote. I'll read it and then we'll go ahead. Please keep the door open. Puja is a religious ritual performed by Hindus as an offering to a deity, distinguished person, or special guest with the idea of receiving their blessings. And there is another footnote about Niels Bohr. I'm sorry if I am pronouncing wrongly. Niels Bohr was a Nobel Prize winner in physics who worked on understanding atomic structure and was part of the Manhattan Project, which did the research for developing the first atomic bomb for the US. In the final page of The Wayfarers, William describes Keshav, the urinal inhabiting must, and the efforts Baba made to bath him. Eventually, Baba was allowed to pour water on Keshav's feet as he sat in a jeep. After this, Keshav bowed to Baba's will, allowing him to feed and spoil and have contact with him before he was sent back to his urinal home. Bhav Kalchuri, in his multi-volume Lord Meher series, would later laud William's book, but Kalchuri also added, it was said that Donkin was never the same after he finished The Wayfarers. If William felt taxed by this undertaking, it is certain that he, along with the entire global community of Baba followers, would soon feel the extra pressures of life with the God man. Before 1949 came to close, Baba would launch a program of hopelessness and helplessness, which would affect everyone in his fold. Some were hit more directly than others. with William on the very front line of the experiment. And here we have completed this topic number 8, and we'll immediately move to topic number 9, the new life and doctor's clinic. There in Dehradun, during New Life, Baba had given choices. There were 5 choices. But for Donkin, Baba gave order himself. Baba ordered him that he will be part of New Life External. He has to run a clinic in Dehradun. He has to work. Whatever he earns, he has to keep minimum for himself. And I think the responsibility of Gustaji was left on him, for him. And the rest money he has to give to Baba for the use at Baba's discretion, naturally, for the other monthly members. So there is still, this clinic is still there in Dehradun. We had gone and we had seen that clinic, that place is still there in Dehradun. So there Dr. Donkin does the practicing in Dehradun at Baba's instruction during New Life. So this, the New Life Doctor's Clinic, that's why it is named like this. We'll read that. Hints of the New Life, which was to run from mid-October 1949 until February 1952, were given as early as 1931 according to Baba's close disciple and interpreter Erich Jesawala. Indirectly, Baba had hinted. Erich said Baba used the term New Life on a visit to the West in 1931 when a young woman came before him and admitted she was so distraught she felt that suicide was her only escape. Baba looked at her very solemnly and said, "Then why don't you commit suicide?" And saying that, he pressed her head to his feet and again said, "Commit suicide." A few moments later, Baba raised her head and told her, "Now you are no longer yourself. Begin to live the new life. Think of me, remember me, and love me." Do you know this story? Hi, Betty, Masha, Diana. It's a wonderful story. I'll just narrate in few minutes, okay? So it so happens when Baba was in, I think it's USA, Baba was in West in 31, and it was a darshan program. And one day, while Baba was sitting there, all at a sudden, a young, beautiful girl comes running. But she knew no one, no friends, no Baba lovers, no company. She came all alone. No one was with her, and she was not knowing anyone who gathered there. And when her turn comes, and she enters the hall, and she sees Baba, and straightway, without anyone's introduction and all that, straightway she rushes to Baba, goes to him, and meets Baba. And she cries and cries and cries. And Baba asks her, she was very beautiful, young. So Baba says, "Why you are so sad? I see you are so so beautiful." Baba is praising her beauty. "You are so pretty, you are so beautiful, so young, and it seems you are very rich also. Why are you sad? What is making you sad? What is the problem?" So she says, "No, I just want to die. I want to finish myself." And saying so, she is crying and says, then Baba says, "Okay, then." Baba calls her near, and Baba holds her neck in his hand, and she is sitting near Baba's feet, and Baba takes her head and presses her head on his feet and he holds her neck and presses her feet. And Baba says, before that, Baba says, okay, who has stopped you? Baba first listened to her, and then Baba says, okay, go ahead, commit suicide. So everyone was astonished. Baba says, who has stopped you? Go ahead and commit suicide. And then Baba calls her and does this. Baba presses her head on his feet. And then Baba says, now forget all your past. Here, now you commit suicide. Now you are mine. Now your new life begins. Forget all the past. This is your suicide. You are committing suicide. Now you are not yours, and your new life begins. Remember me, love me, and all that. There is a post story to this story. That also we'll see. So, this is what happened again after that to that girl. And Baba says her, remember me, love me, and now forget all that, and your new life begins. And she goes happily. After many years, after Baba dropped body, after that 10, 15 or 20 years after that, 80s or 90s, then Erich tells a story. It happened in the trust compound, Erich office in the Khushru quarter, Ahmednagar. So it so happened that usually during December and all that, many Westerners visit India. So a group of Westerners had come. They stayed there quite a long time, maybe 2 months or 3 months, all that period. And Erich was fit and healthy at that time. And he used to take the Westerners and Baba lovers to the various places Baba had been to, like Toka and other places, and Ajanta, Ellora, and all that. And he took this group everywhere, and they enjoyed a lot. There were skits, dramas, dance, and singing, and all the things. And there was one beautiful young girl again, and she used to participate in everything, and she enjoyed a lot. And Eris told them many, many stories. And now the day of their departure comes. And here Erich goes to his office, and the bell rings, and he was told, Erich, there is a call for you. And here the young girl calls to Erich, and she says, I want to meet you. I want to talk to you. So Erich was surprised. He was deep in his work. So he said, all these days you were there. And again, what is that you want to again meet me? But after repeated request from the girl, finally he gives in. He says, okay, come at the lunchtime, 1 or 1:30, he says, but I'll meet you, just a brief visit. She says, agrees. And she comes around 1 or 1:30, given time exactly. She reaches trust office. She meets Erich. And Erich was little irritated at that time. He admits that I was very much busy in the workload. And he straightway asked her, you were there, you heard so many. What is that again you wanted to meet? Now you have met, okay, fine, happy journey, goodbye, and go. And she says, no, no. I want to listen one story from you. And he was wondered, what is this? Is it the time to tell the story? He says, I was totally blank at that time. None of the story came to my mind, Eric says. And is it the way so many stories you have heard for so many days? And now there is a time for you to depart, and you're asking me to tell one more story. Is it the thing for that you have come here? She says, yes. Please, please. Only one. Last story. And he was helpless, and he thinks over what to tell. And immediately this story comes to his mind. This, which we just saw, no? That commit suicide Valley story. And because Erich was there when in West in 1930, when this incident happened of committing suicide, that girl says, and Baba press her head on his feet, and this is your new life, Baba says her. At that time, Erich was there. And suddenly he remembers this incident and this story of committing suicide. He tells to this girl now in 80s or 90s, after so many years. He tells after 60 years, so 50 or 60 years, this story, Erich tells to that girl. And she was happy, she's crying, and she hugs and Jai Baba, and she goes. Erich forgets everything. After 10 years of time, 10 or 15 years of time after this, or some years, then Billy Page tells one day to Erich that you have saved one life. In the year so and so, you have saved one life. So Erich says, I know nothing. Whose life have I saved? How come? So it so happens that this girl who had come to the trust office to hear a story from Erich, she meets Billy Page at the airport before going from Bombay to West. And she tells her story to Billy Page. She tells she is from a very wealthy family and born up as the Christ child is born, she is brought up in that same manner. And somehow, always that thought was in her mind since childhood that what is the aim of the life? Why should I live? What is the purpose of my life? And she is so much haunted with the thought that finally, in her young age, she decides if I don't get a proper answer to this question till my 21st birthday, I will commit suicide and finish myself. This was her determination and her decision. And that's how she had come to India. She stayed in Meherabad, Meherajhan, and that was her birthday. When she requested Erich for one more visit, when she came to Trust Compound, when she requested Erich to tell one more story, it was her 21st birthday. And that was the last day she had decided she will commit suicide and she will go. But see how Baba helps every soul. That girl's soul, the one lady who had come for committing suicide, and to Yerach also. He was so busy in the work, and she asks, and he tells this story of committing suicide and starting a new life. And she says that after hearing this story, she found the aim of her life and she cancelled the plan of her committing suicide. I hope I have not made it complicated. Two stories together of suicide.
Well, that's wonderful to hear that story connected with this story. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
And Billy Pace tells Erich that was her birthday. She never told anything. And Billy Page revealed it to Erich that it was her birthday. It was the last day and she was going to commit suicide. And when you told her this story of Baba's time in 1931, which happened in West, Baba asked that lady girl that you commit suicide and your new life starts. And that gave a new spark to her life. Anyway, okay. We have to start or we have to stop?
uh,
We have to
we
start
can
new topic or we have to stop here?
well,
As
uh,
it is a new
we
chapter.
we have another program in about half hour, so
Yeah.
we have a little
I think
time.
then we should stop, no?
Uh,
Or we should continue.
Up to you. Let's see. I need to change this. I have to change scans anyway, so I stop share. Okay. Uh, w- we could go a little bit. Does it? However you like. We should.
Sorry.
We have maybe 15 more minutes before we really should stop.
Hmm.
Yeah.
As you said, as it is a new topic. We can stop or we can start. No problem. Today I had dinner and then sat for the reading.
Oh,
I hope all others have done the same.
uh, uh,
What Marsha says.
she's having breakfast.
Yeah, it's your
Well,
morning time and
yeah,
our bedtime.
yeah, yes, right. Uh, uh, let's see.
Okay, we'll read 2, 3 pages and then we'll
Okay,
stop.
first of all. Okay, let's see. I have to new share now. Let me. Oopsie, sorry.
Or let it be. We'll stop then in that
Okay,
case.
well,
Yeah.
that's convenient for me. I have a different document now. I have.
Yeah, for me it
Okay.
is page number 139 and topic number 9. For you, is there anything before that?
Uh, let's
Yeah,
see.
we had already started that story, no? He says about the new life.
Right, 140.
That's how
Yeah.
he says that Baba had already mentioned new life in 1931. He told that girl, this is your new life, he said. So there we had stopped.
Right. Okay. So this is the next page. This is 140. Uh,
We
well,
are,
let's see. Here we go.
a few paragraphs is a paragraph. A few paragraph.
Let's see. Oh, sorry. Here we go.
You will find in the here only. Yeah, here only.
Yeah.
A few paragraphs. Yes. One, two,
Okay.
three. A few
Uh-huh.
paragraphs. Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Maybe.
This is the right page.
Okay.
A few comments later, moments later, and then a new few Okay, fine. Thank you. A few paragraphs later in the book, Eris says of the new life that it was an intense period of incognito travel, which Baba was to initiate 18 years later in 1949. Meher Baba's new life was a blueprint for our life, for we can find examples in it to help us in every incident, to be cheerful under all circumstances, to try to curb anger, and never to worry about the future, but to depend solely on the Lord's will. How important. Eric's brother Merwan, who was in his late teens at the time, says Baba exploded an atom bomb when he came out of seclusion for a day on June 21, 1949, to announce the new life. He wanted to dispose of everything, cars, property, everything. He said, let them collect things, I will dispose of all. Erich and William would both have an all encompassing direct involvement in the new life. Baba carefully chose the 4 women and 16 men who would accompany him on the new life travels. Meher Baba's followers worldwide were informed of the new life plan early and invited to join the process in some capacity at a meeting that Baba called in India. The sacrifices for most followers were not insignificant, and for the group chosen to go with Baba, they were overwhelming. At the outset, Baba said all ashrams would be completely disassembled. Throughout his life, Baba warned his followers about the institutions, window dressings, and trappings of world religions, which he said that interfered with true spirituality. He may have thought that the colonies of his followers at both Meherabad and Meherazad needed to feel some upheaval. He always insisted that true spirituality would not be found by hiding away or secluding oneself from life's trials. He may even have felt that his followers were not truly living in the spirit of renunciation. He was determined to place them as much as possible in situations where renunciation would have to be fully confronted. While tearing down ashrams and devastating himself or property showed his determination to upset the status quo, he also outlined major changes and choices that his followers would have to consider. The 21 who accompanied him were, for the most part, the only people in contact with him for 3 or 4 months, and those who were left behind were expected to assume new lives away from their previous patterns in the ashram. Long-time Western disciple Kitty Devi, who would have to leave the home base of Meherabad after 12 years, went to teach school in Bombay for the New Life period. She explains how the New Life bombshell affected the Mandali directly. All at Meherabad were called to Merazat to a big meeting. In brief, Baba had decided to close all ashrams, dispose of all their contents, and relinquish all properties in India except the Meherabad hill premises. The majority of those living with Baba at the time were to be sent back into the world to live and work. A few disciples would form his chosen companions to accompany him in the new life. Those agreeing to the severe conditions of the new life, hence called Yeswalas, had to be prepared to look upon themselves as dead, in the sense that the dead have no desires, concerns, attachments, questions, or provisions for the morrow. William was immediately involved in new life preparations. While still in seclusion in the blue bust body, Baba asked those presenting the various religions to read passages from the Bible, Quran, Jain Avesta, and Bhagavad Gita as part of the lead up to the start of the new life. William read the Sermon on the Mount, one of Baba's favorite Bible passages. William also helped draw up the circular outlining new life rules. Kitty Devi relates Baba's comments related to the circular. I want you all to go through this circular word by word most carefully before you decide. Although your faith, love, and service for me have been greater than mine would have been for my own master. Yet these conditions might prove your undoing. So, unless you are ready to live the life of complete satyanashi, self-annihilation, and or hopelessness, and absolute obedience, it would be better to stay behind and obey instructions that will be given to you. The decision is entirely to be made by you and you alone. May God give you the required strength. Specifically, Baba gave the woman 4 alternatives. First, stay in the Meherabad hill quarters if a family member can provide financial help. Second, work for a living and contribute anything that could be spread for families that had so far been depending on Baba. Third, do what they liked and have nothing more to do with Baba. And fourth, leave everything to Baba and do exactly as he said, accepting with full faith whatever decision he made. Okay. There is a footnote, Wala. In Eswala is a Hindi word that literally means connected or pertaining to and refers to someone's particular job, responsibility, or activity. Yeah, means who are ready to go for new life, yes, and who are not ready, no. Well, Kitty wanted very much to accompany Baba as a female companion on the new life. In the end, Baba chose only 4 Eastern women disciples. He believed that taking Western women disciples on a foot journey through India might attract unwanted attention and questions from Indian authorities. In the group of 16 men who were finally chosen, William was the only Western disciple to join Baba in the new life. When different Mandali members read out passages from the various holy books, Baba would follow with explanations on their meaning. When William read from the Sermon on the Mount, he be therefore perfect, even as your Father, which in heaven is perfect. Baba explained that Jesus used to tell people that God realization is the goal of each individual and that everyone is potentially God. He added that few people at the time of Jesus were ready to hear such truths directly. At the close of William's reading of the sermon, Baba spelled out on his alphabet board, "This is my favorite section of the Bible." In Balnathu's Glimpses of the God-Man, Volume 2, the author says that William received word in July from Baba that he was to mark out important passages in some books on Christian mysticism and then forward the books to Meherkrupa. He was specially asked to send the books of Friar Juniper. The other books were The Little Flower's Life, Mirror of Saint Francis, Classics of the Inner Life, and The Cloud of Unknowing. William carried out other Christian readings as the months passed in preparation for the new life. At one point, he read out the crucifixion of Jesus from the Gospel of St. Matthew. At another meeting on August 9, 1949, Baba had a message read out in 4 languages. Part of the message in English that William read was, there is a footnote, Friar Juniper was one of the brothers who lived and worked with St. Francis of Assisi.
That word is friar. Friar means like brother.
Friar, thank you, Betty, friar. So the part of message in English that William read was, may God, whom the Muslims call Allah, whom the Zoroastrians call our Master, whom the Hindus call Ishwar Paramatma, and whom many others call by many other names. May he whose union lovers seek in self-annihilation, whom the seas see as the only reality, and whom the knows know as their own real self. May this supreme conscious being, this conscious soul of souls, who eternally manifests as avatar and perfect masters, may he through his all merciful act bestow on us his grace. Baba also asked William and Dr. Ghani to prepare the final draft of the new life conditions. They were to have the job finished by August 21, and Baba stressed the seriousness and finality of these conditions. Although the conditions were sent out to more than 1,000 Baba lovers, Baba finally selected only 32 men who would be given the choice of accompanying him on the new life. The 32 names were finally reduced to 16 who would take on the arduous travels. A few days after the men were asked to decide on taking part in the new line, Baba met with the women mandali. After this session, Baba chose only 4 women to accompany him: Mehra, Mani, Meheru, and Dr. Gont. During preparations for the October 16 start of the new life, Baba continuously emphasized the importance of the holy books of different world religions. In addition to reading Bible passages, William was also given the job of reading out the conditions of the new life in English to his fellow companions at a final meeting on August 31st. When he finished reading these conditions, a deep silence prevailed among those gathered. Those who were to travel directly with Baba were going to have a completely different relationship with him than in the past. Although they were to obey him implicitly, the orders they followed were all preordained according to the conditions in writing they agreed to and signed prior to the start of the new life journeys. Baba insisted that on the actual travels he would only be a companion to the other members of the group and was not to be treated as their master. As per his usual instructions, his identity would be kept from anyone they came in contact with. The earlier description which Baba had given about the new life being one of hopeless and helplessness was indeed apt, in that the companions were to exist only on what they could acquire through begging. Ividius, in her book How a Master Works, describes the group's departure on the new life. The first day of walking was a long trek of 17 miles and was tiring, especially for the elderly ones, notably Dr. Gunny, who led a sedentary life. The main companions walked in front and a short distance behind Baba, and the women followed. Sore and battered feet were regular ailments for companions, including Baba. On the journey, Baba's feet became sore due to a new pair of sandals. Mehra offered him her broken-in sandals, which fit Baba comfortably. Dr. Donkin applied gaze and adhesive tape to Baba's blistered feet. At one point, Dr. Gunny complained to the other men, "Dr. Donkin and Dr. Neelu totally led me astray." They were saying that Baba's health was much that he would not be able to walk more than 4 or 5 miles a day. He was humorously suggesting that he wanted another rest, but Baba just smiled and they all pushed on. Dr. Ghani suffered a mild heart attack just a couple of days into the journey, and William and Dr. Neelu attended him. Baba gestured for him to sit under a roadside tree in the shade for 15 minutes. He was then given water to sip, and one of the companions splashed water over his face. Due to this help, Gunny was able to cool down. Gunny recovered enough to keep traveling after they took rest in a government rest house. Ivy says the companions also adopted a sort of uniform at the beginning of their journeys. Baba and the men wore white kafnis and green turbans. William was excused from wearing the turban because he could not balance it on his head. Instead, he wore a makeshift Arab head covering. A kafni is a knee-length shirt or lightweight coat. The Arab head covering may have been a keffiyeh or gutra, which is a folded cloth that is bound onto the head with a cloth band. The first day out on the journey, the women companions wore cotton saris of the same color, slate blue. Afterwards, they wore clothes that were more practical and did not interfere with the walking, long pants or trousers with a frock over them. Their first destination was Sarnath. Oh no. Said to be where Buddha delivered his first sermon. Buddhist monuments abound there, as well as many monasteries. The ancient ruins in Sarnath are the most expansive on the Buddhist trail, and their hunting beauty at certain times of the day reflects the deep spiritual history there. The travelers' procession became even more theatrical when they moved on to Banaras. Here, the group acquired several animals to take on their journeys, including White Horse. Ivy describes the bizarre parade that was a result of the added menagerie zoo.
Menagerie.
The
Menagerie.
menagerie. The scene was, thank you, Betty, menagerie. The scene was like a pageant being enacted before us. First came Dr. Donkin wearing a Arab-like headdress and a white kafni, leading the beautiful white horse. Then followed the camel cart and bullock carts. Hanging from the neck of the stately camel was a Persian bell, which sounded melodiously. Some of the companions were driving the carts, the rest coming on foot. Last came caravan drawn by two bullocks, and tied to caravan were two donkeys who were not used to being led like horses, and resisted this treatment all the way. Although comical to envision, the life of the companions was tough at the best of times. Each member of the group, including Baba, had a bhiksha begging bowl, and a couple of companions at a time were dispatched to beg at dwellings for food and other necessities. Yeah, there is a beautiful photo of Meheru. We'll read that. We'll see the photo, we'll read that. And
Sorry, it didn't turn out very well. I'm sorry. But anyway,
she was very beautiful.
she was.
And there is a unique combination of many things in Meheru. I remember I liked her. She was so beautiful, and still she was so strong, and still she was so kind,
Mm.
and she was very adjustive, and many things she had. She was a lovely person. So Mehru Irani was a lifelong woman mandli of Meher Baba. She accompanied Baba on the New Life travels. Mehru was the daughter of Rustum K. Irani and Frenni Irani. Rustum was the first, Frenni Irani, Mehra's sister. Rustum was the first of Meher Baba's Mandali to travel to countries of the West in 1928. Being cheerful and calm was one of the conditions of the new life. Okay. Are we supposed to stop?
I think maybe a good time now. We'll remember Meru's photo for next time.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I'll make a
it gives 15
right.
minutes. 15
So
minutes.
we'll stop here. Yeah, yeah. And we'll meet after, though it is interesting, we'll stop here. No attachments, as Baba said, with whatever reading or bhajan or whatever it is. Hi, Rosalie. Jai Baba. Happy New Year to you. Jai Baba. Jai Baba. We'll end the
Jai
session with
Baba.
Baba's Aarti. Yeah. Jai Baba, Santoshi, Mehera, Meher Kiranji, Sushma ji. Mehera, Jai Baba.
जय बाबा ताई
आरती म्हणशील कुठली म्हणशील हिंदीतली म्हण एखादी
जहाँ कल्पना
बेस्ट हा
अवतार में
अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय थैंक यू बाबा थैंक यू ऑल ऑफ यू जय बाबा
Meherkrupa.
मेहर बाबा की
एक मिनिट हा मेहरा एक मिनिट काय
Oh, she's
एक मिनिट
singing.
हा
That's okay. After.
मेहरा एक मिनिट हा रोजली काहीतरी म्हणते हा येस रोजाली जय बाबा
Yeah, I remembered a time with Meru that was very. It's worth remembering. I had
I had asked Mara for a rose out of Baba's bedroom. And so she said yes, and I brought the rose out, a big red rose. And Meru, with great force, she's strong voice, she says, "Rosalie, that is not your rose." And all I said was, Mara gave it to me. And she looked away like she had never said anything. So, but it was so beautiful because her feeling towards Mara, that was it. Yeah. It was like gone that she'd said that. And believe me, you know how her strength could come across. She was no weakling, Meru. No. Yeah. Yeah.
Whether snake, whether wild animal, they will look at Meheru for the help. And she, without any fear, whether it is a snake, whack, she will just crush it. There are so many instances, whether it is a monkey, whether it is a wild animal, she will fear of none, and she will just save others.
Yeah. No. Oh, it's good to see you, Meherkrupa. Yeah.
We have many fond memories with these people. We had their long contacts and service. The whole day we used to spend with them. And that was the time it was not at all crowded. And they were feeling Baba's absence a lot. So my father used to we were kids and then grown-ups, we used to go there to them. And they used to just question all our worldly matters, in which standard you dance, you sing, and all those things used to go.
Yeah. Where did
Okay.
you live? Did you live in Ahmednagar?
Excuse
Yeah.
me, we should really have the arti because we have only 10 minutes before the next.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure. We are from Ahmednagar.
Oh, you were? Okay. Yeah.
Mehra, please continue. Oh, sorry. Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Atar Meher Baba ki
Jai.
jai. Jahan kalpana shabdana pahunche. ऐसे अपना वेद पुकारे महिमा तोरी अपार दिव्य सनातन परम दयाघन दिव्य सनातन परम दयाघन हे जगदोद्धारो मेहर मन आरती स्वीकारो मेहर मन आरती स्वीकारो धूप दीप चंदन छाया भोग लगाना फूल चढ़ाना तुम्हारा ही तुमको लौटाना काहे बढ़ाई करो मेरा मन आरती स्वीकारो मेरा मन आरती स्वीकारो सकल निधि तुम कारण हो सकल विश्व हारे हो तुम समार नहीं तुम ही हो, हे सतावतारो मेहर मन आरती स्वीकारो, मेहर मन आरती स्वीकारो। सकल चराचर तुम्हारी माया, माया की तो तुम्हारी छाया, तुम्हारा अंतन कोई पाया, तुम हो अनंत खरो मेहर मना आरती स्वीकारो, मेहर मना आरती स्वीकारो। अपने को जब जाने जाने, महिमा तुम्हारी क्या पहचाने, जो कुछ भी कहते न जाने, गुण गाते तुम्हारो मेहर मन आरती स्वीकारो, मेहर मन आरती स्वीकारो। सीमा नहीं तुम्हारी कृपा को, क्या कोई दे सकता प्रभु तुमको, भीख तुम्हें दो प्रेमी जनों को, नित्य तुम्हें सुमिरो मेहर मन आरती स्वीकारो, मेहर मन आरती स्वीकारो। दिव्य सनातन परम दयाघन, दिव्य सनातन परम दयाघन, हे जगदोद्धारो मेहर मन आरती स्वीकारो, मेहर मन आरती स्वीकारो। अवतार मेहर बाबा
मेहर बाबा
की
की
जय।
जय।
जय बाबा, जय
अवतार
बाबा।
मेहर बाबा की जय। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय।
Okay,
Thank you.
Meherkrupa.
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
Rosa.
wanted to sing a line out of the mystical language with Jonathan. You know Jonathan here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Please.
yeah. This
Please.
beautiful line. We call it the joy song.
Yeah, thank you.
It
Jai
is
Baba
all
Jonathan.
very simple. It is all very real. It is all to be in you and in me, in one all act of joy when I in you realize in you. One then I ask me, see this, and in this be happy. See this, and in this be real and good to others.
Wow. Oh, very good, very good. Thank you, thank you.
You must come sometime to our meeting, and we'll sing it for you.
Thank
again.
you, both of you. Happy
Yeah,
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Jai
Happy New
Baba.
Year. Yes.
Happy New
Is
Year.
that?
And thank you, all of you. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Betty, Dinah, Rosa, Masha, Soge. Jai Baba.
Meher Baba.
Jai Baba.
You.
Haji, Mehra,
Amen.
Jai
Saroshi.
Baba.
Jai
Jai
Baba.
Baba. Happy
Avtar
New
Meher
Year.
Baba.
Jai Baba.
Yeah, we all will
Jai.
sing together. Avatar Meher Baba
Baba
ki
ki
jai.
jai.
Avatar
Avtar
Meher Baba
Meher
ki jai.
Baba ki jai.
Avatar
Meher
Meher
Baba
Baba
ki
ki
jai.
jai. Thank you, Jai Baba.